Welcome everybody to a special July 3rd / 4th edition of the 12 o'clock show with Mayor Joe. Joining me today is Assistant Chief Bryan from Truro Township, our neighbors down the road. How are you?
Good, good. You?
All right. You all caffeinated and ready for a long night?
We are. It's going to be a long day. It's going to be a 12, 14-hour day.
Yeah.
By the time
it is going to be, and there's always the added drama of the weather and things like that.
Yeah, well, that's what we're dealing with right now, too. Yeah.
So we don't normally start the fireworks process the day of, so this goes back a little bit. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the process that we all go through to get ready to make sure everybody's safe at an event like this?
Sure. So our planning process, I think, really kicks off after the fireworks end this year. So we start immediately planning for next year. And then the formal process really starts around January, February. We meet with the city down here and meet with all the other departments involved, the street department, the parks and rec, obviously the police department and us, to kind of plan this whole event out and schedule things. Our fire prevention officer is on site right now. The fireworks were delivered. He's been over at the park the last couple days. They showed up yesterday. The fireworks company showed up yesterday and began building the racks and everything. So he is there to make sure, the integrity of the racks, make sure everything's safe, everything's done to code. And then when they start loading the product this afternoon, he'll be there too to make sure everything's going right and we have a fun and safe 4th of July holiday celebration. And also make sure that those distances that we have set up, with the snow fence that we put in line, and make sure that no one's violating that distance, that safe distance. And so yeah, that's the whole planning process in a nutshell there.
It's a lot of different pieces, a lot of moving parts.
It is,
And then the big one obviously is going to be a question about when's that go, no go. So that'll be a decision that the fire department, police department, myself will all sit down and we'll figure out, are we going, no go. Knock on wood right now, we're going. Just because once we put that stuff in, and this is the interesting thing, once you load in the fireworks, somebody from the fire department has to be there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, no matter how, but once they're in until they are launched.
Correct.
And so our rain date, because we do things on the 3rd, our rain date is actually the 6th, which means that it's Theo, right? Theo's out there?
Yep.
Theo would have to be there today, tomorrow, Friday, and then Saturday. And while that would be funny in some respects to have him there the entire time, I don't think anybody wants that. So we want to do it tonight. We've got great music lined up for tonight. We've got food trucks and all of that. We really want to make this effort for tonight. So.
Sure.
Well, some of the common things that everyone can do to have a safe 4th of July, not necessarily just at Civic, but at home, because they've obviously every news station is talking about it. The number of fireworks-related injuries has gone up, specifically in Ohio, because of the law changes and things like that. So, what are some good pieces of advice you have for all of us?
I would say, first and foremost, leave it to the adults. The adult supervision there, free of alcohol. That's always a plus. Not a hold my beer, hey, watch this. Yeah. Kind of thing. Make sure you're doing this in a safe location, away from structures, fields, debris, things like that you can cause a fire from the fallout and everything. And if you're hesitant, just leave it to the professionals. There are several good alternatives out there. Silly string, red, white, and blue silly string. You have noisemakers, you have glow sticks. All those things are good alternatives that really don't
blow up your hand.
Blow off your hand, cause injury. And I think for the most part they're safe for your pets and everything like that, because we always have that dilemma too with the pets and the fireworks and things like that. So.
Well, it's a good thing. Now, if there was a fireworks related issue at somebody's home, obviously, first thing, call 911. But are there any other steps that you think that people could take just in the immediacy? Yeah,
so sure. Depending on the injury, what the types of injuries that we kind of see that go along with fireworks are burn injuries or trauma, bleeding. Obviously, like you alluded to earlier, blowing off your hand, doing something silly. That unfortunately that does happen. But most of them are burn injuries, so just cooling that site, cooling the burn area, applying a moist, sterile dressing, which a gauze bandage or something like that, and keeping them calm until the medics get there. We have a pretty good response time, so usually less than 4 minutes. Yeah.
Well, I know one question that always comes up, especially now with some of the changes, is what to do if the fireworks are going on. So Reynoldsburg has legislation that they put in place in 2022 that allows for fireworks between 4 p.m. or 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. on the 4th of July only. Anything outside of that for this fireworks extravaganza, so if you're in the neighborhoods and this type of thing happens, that is actually in violation of our rules and our laws. So you can call the police. If they have units available, they will go. We have already had 2 that have been cited into court in the last week. For people that are letting off fireworks and things like that. But a lot of it really is, I think it's kind of like what you alluded to earlier about being safe and mindful of what you're doing.
Right. Sure.
You know, you don't want to do it right next to a house. You want to be considerate that if you're launching fireworks, you know, aiming them at your neighbor that you don't like and hoping that something lands on their roof is not necessarily the best way to go about things.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think keeping, and you brought up a good point about your neighbors and being aware of your neighbors and things. There's something else that kind of goes along with the pet thing is we have a lot of veterans in the area.
Yeah.
Some of them suffering with post-traumatic stress and things like that, and this can be a hard time for them, the 4th of July and the fireworks and stuff that can bring back unwanted memories and things. So, yeah, just being aware.
It's not just you enjoying the fireworks. There are other things involved all the way across.
Sure.
And I don't think anybody wants to celebrate, you know, the United States any more than anybody else, but I believe that if you're doing it at 2 o'clock in the morning, I think you have exceeded those patriotic expectations. So perhaps maybe just kind of cut that a little bit.
Yeah, switch over to the glow sticks.
Yeah, be a little bit of good times. So what else is going on in Truro Township? Any other fun news? Any kind of things going on?
Yeah, as you're aware, tomorrow, the big 4th of July parade, immediately following the parade, we have a pretty grand event every year. It's the police and fire softball team, or game. And we've been preparing for the last year pretty diligently, and to the point that we've hired several new members on the fire department, and we've, in addition to the normal questions we've asked, their athletic ability, and maybe, you know, throwing that into the physical agility portion to see how they feel like a ball and things like that, because it's been pretty painful losing the last couple years to the police.
So, I mean, it does explain a lot when I see people running around the bases at Huber with the fire hoses on at the same time around the bases, because you have to make it look like it's part. Yeah, you got to incorporate it.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully the weather will cooperate, but if anybody wants to, it'll be at Huber, which is nice because people get right off the parade route, and then you can go walk right over.
Absolutely, encourage it. Yeah.
Probably start about 12:30-ish, give or take a little bit.
Yeah. It's always a good time.
Yeah.
It's pretty well attended.
It is
a good group. We saw you there last year.
Yeah, I've been there. It's been nice to have people there just because it's not just some of the friends and families, but there's also some community members. And really, it's a lot of fun. I mean, everybody's competitive. Everybody wants to do something. And we were joking earlier that there are plenty of people who are either past their prime or maybe never had a prime or think that they're still in their prime. And so it's always a lot of fun for that type of thing.
Yep.
Well, I'd love for you to stick around for a little bit. We've got a couple of other cool things going on. You know, one thing I do want to talk about is, again, that rain policy. You know, for fireworks tonight, unless it is lightning and thunder and tornado-ish type stuff, you know, our anticipation is that we are going to go ahead and go forward for today. Same thing for the parade. Tomorrow, I think they'll wait until, you know, as close to the very end of the kickoff time at 10 o'clock, that if it is, again, thunder and lightning, I think that's when they will cancel. There's not going to be a rescheduled date for the 4th of July parade, so that's there. So kind of keep those things in mind. So as far as other cool things going on, we've got a job fair. Reynoldsburg City Schools has a job fair on July 10th next week. It's from 8 to 3:30 at the Graham Road Welcome Center. They're looking for bus drivers, as always, cooks, and sub-cooks. They're also looking for some maintenance and custodians. So if you're looking for a new beginning and a great opportunity to work with the Reynoldsburg City School District, go ahead and walk out that way. There's also going to be a levy request. We know that has been kind of officially locked in for the most part. So at the next board meeting, we'll get all the details about the dollar amounts and things of that nature, which is actually kind of convenient because right after they have that on the meeting on the third Tuesday of the month, I think my guest that week is actually Franklin County Auditor Michael Stinziano, so we can really talk about how that kind of impacts and what that property tax stuff does, because it's not nearly what everybody thinks. But we'll talk about that as well. But if you have questions before then, I know it's the summertime and everybody's kind of enjoying the summertime. Board member Neil Whitman has his office hours every Friday from 4 to 5. The first half hour are broadcast live. The next 30 minutes are a little bit different. They're kind of in person. So if you want to participate in that, go ahead and contact him. And we're going to be starting something new. So I've been kicking around this idea for a while. Sometimes it's hard to get people to have conversations about what's going on in the city. That's outside Facebook. Sometimes City Hall can be an intimidating presence. You don't want to come to City Hall or speak before a council meeting or something like that. And a lot of times people don't realize that for the most part, if you give me enough notice, I'll probably meet with you within 24 hours. Usually my calendar has some flexibility with that. So I thought we'd kind of kick things off and go on the road. So I'm actually going to start with our called, until we can come up with a different name, just kind of walk and talks with the mayor. So we've identified a number of residential roads throughout Reynoldsburg, and what I'm going to do is at various times, I'm just going to go there and I'm going to take a walk up and around a neighborhood, and then if anybody wants to join me to talk about anything in their neighborhood specifically, or if they have questions about the city in general, I can do so. If nobody shows up, I'm probably still going to have a bag and a trash picker, and I'll collect litter. That's actually one of the things I've been doing with my wife when we go out for walks. We have 2 dogs, a big German Shepherd who's very quiet, and a little Pomeranian who's very loud. So she'll walk them, but I'll have my trash bag, and I'll have a trash picker. And we were just talking last night that every time we go, we don't think that how are you going to fill this up? But pretty much every single time we go, I fill up a bag, and these are in residential areas, which is fine. And in terms of things happen, I really wish people would start picking things up. I mean, it's one thing if like a wrapper flows away or something like that, but when you have, I think in Kingsley area where I live, Diet Pepsi, Pepsi, and Red Bull were the drinks of choice. Which of all the things that I found as far as litter pickup, those are actually okay to have things as you're driving and tossing out. I guess that's better than some of the other things that I've seen on Lancaster, which are a little bit more alcohol related. But the first one we're going to do is Bartlett and Haft. So I'll start at basically Haft and Bartlett, and then I'll walk up all the way around up to Rose Hill, and then back down Retton. I'll start at 10:30. So you'll see some social media posts once the 4th of July is done. I've got 10 scheduled on my calendar right now, July through October, so I'll probably do a couple a month. Other roads, and these are just the starting point, so obviously I kind of connect around Birchview, Slate Ridge, First Gate, Bryce, Woolham, Broadwind, and Tomahawk Trail. So those are areas where I think I've gotten comments about, hey, come and take a look at our roads, or hey, there's somebody who believes that stop signs are optional or something along those lines. So I'm trying to go to some of those kind of things, but anybody is welcome, even if you're not in that particular area. You can come and sit and chit chat with me, and again, sometimes maybe that's just a little easier than having to come to City Hall. But I'll do them on Saturdays at 10:30 a.m. And then I think there's a couple of weekdays in there that I may do some 6:30 p.m. type walks. If it's raining, we'll kind of make events of it, and then we'll notify, because obviously no one wants to walk in the rain. So that's it. Other updates that we've got going on, obviously Wagner Road is completely under construction right now. It's actually, knock on wood, we are doing relatively well. The water line is actually almost all the way to Priestley, which is huge. And so that's actually really big news, because you don't know, when you're boring a water line, you don't know what you're going to run into. So they're almost all the way up to Priestley. We know Columbia Gas is getting everything staged out at Priestley, and they're getting ready to start making their truck all the way to Main Street. And AEP is a little bit of everywhere right now. So it's very active, lots of things going on. So we're really kind of excited about that. I know there's 428 days to go, but by this time next year, we're going to be in a position where I think most of the first phase is going to be taken care of. So if you want to know the next step, once the water line is complete, everybody's going to be starting to work on the stormwater part, which I have no idea exactly what that means, other than working to make sure that all the water, when it flows off, eventually will go exactly where it's supposed to. Columbia Gas will do their thing. The goal is to finish with every single thing that needs to be done with the roads before the end of this construction season. And then beginning of early next year is when they do the curbs and the bike paths and multi-purpose paths and things like that. And then obviously paving the road. So that would be what would be on tap for next year. So the goal is to get all of the infrastructure done this year, and then in the first couple of months of next year, get that other section done. So it's always there. We're also going to be bringing something else to the attention of council. We are going to be putting a request into bid for our service building. We've been talking about this. Even you and I have had conversations about this. Our parks and water department are located on facilities that are, shall we say, lacking a little bit. So the city has been working for the last little bit to find some improved locations. This will be actually currently on the site where our street department is, so we'll kind of bring everything there. But it's going to have all of the things that need to, like, up-to-date things, so we're ADA required, OSHA required, facilities that are actually clean and manageable, and all of these different types of things. But we'll also have a fuel center, which Truro Township, we've had conversations about you guys being able to fill up the fire trucks there, which is going to be a benefit from a cost savings measure. Same thing with the school district and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to it. I think that'll be good. Hopefully council, I think they agree with it, so we've got that. As far as other wonderful things going on road-wise, Taylor Road, where the new Sheets is, we know that a lot of work has been done there. We are supposed to, like I said, get about 24 or 48 hours notice before they have to shut down part of it to do all that repaving. My guess is that we'll probably find that out today or Friday, and then probably early next week, weather depending. That's when they're going to do that. So we'll probably have a couple of days next week where Taylor Road's going to be very limited just because they're going to be repaving it. But once they're done with that, they're done, and then the rest of it is just more improved traffic flow all the way around. So. Some cool news about the CODA BRT, the Bus Rapid Transit. They're actually going to have representatives here at our August 8th farmers market. So for people that want to actually have some good conversations and questions with people who know a lot more about it than I do, the farmers market is going to be a good place to go. So we'll kind of promote that as well. You mentioned the softball game, but we also have another competition, which is a little bit more equal opportunity, even for those that might be past their prime.
Yep.
We have the Battle of the Badges Blood Drive, very similar to what Ohio State and that school up north does, but this is going to be July 8th at the Reynoldsburg Community Church from 10 to 4. You guys have done great getting the word out on social media. I've seen a lot of posts for that, so congratulations. Still not going to help you, but we're going to go ahead and take care of that. But it's going to be, it's a good, really that's a good thing.
It is.
I've talked about it. I'm a frequent blood donor. I can't remember. I think I'm able to do that one because I'm at that point where they say X amount of weeks. I'm getting close to that.
Yeah,
so,
I am not. I'm not eligible.
Not eligible for that
eligible,
one?
yeah.
So I think I've got that one. So we'll see. If not, I know we always have one here at RPD on a regular basis. We do have our flood grant meeting on July 18th. So this is the comprehensive review of everything about all the issues with flooding that Reynoldsburg has had, specifically mostly tied to the Blacklick Creek. But that's going to be at the Reynoldsburg Public Library on the 18th from 6 to 8 p.m. So you're going to start seeing some more advertising about that. I know I've mentioned it before. And now we get all the fun, cool things. We've got parks events. We've got the Livingston House nighttime tours on July 19th and August 16th from 10 to midnight. This is 18 and up because it's scary, or it should be. But there's a ghost tour with that. Our fun does not end with the fireworks and parade tomorrow. We have our first Friday food, flicks, and fun. Which is really hard to say, and make sure you say it the right way, but that's July 5th. We're going to have Eric Chin as the musical guest, and the movie The Marvels will be there. We also have a Paint and Sip mini canvas on Saturday, July 28th at Eastside Brewing. This is my favorite one that I like for kids, parents and kids that have younger kids. It's Wacky Olympics. Okay. So it's Monday, July 22nd, where you have one adult and a child, and they'll compete for the gold at the Reynoldsburg Community Church. So they'll do some cool competition type things as we get kicked off for that. We also have the Better Babysitters Club on Thursday, July 16th, or Tuesday the 16th and Thursday the 18th from 12 to 4 at the Livingston House. Kids will learn about first aids, child CPR, how to market yourself to kind of advertise to let people know that you're a babysitter. And they'll have all sorts of suggestions for age-appropriate activities. And as well as we have sports with all the junior golf and things like that starting in July 24th through the 14th of August. Any questions, comments so far?
Yes. One is what dates for the walks and talks?
That's a good one. So I have the only date that I have for the first one is going to be the 20th of July. I have all the other ones. That's going to be on social media in the next couple of days once we get past this. But yeah, we'll have them all out there. We're going to do it as an event, so that way if it does have like bad weather, rain, things like that, we'll be able to post it. So if you're interested, so like I would hate for you to show up and not be there, or me not be there if you show up with it. So it's a good question.
And then someone else says August 8th, rapid transit conversation at Farmers Market. How is this going to be further promoted to get the word out?
This is the step one. So we just got confirmation. I know that we put it out on social media recently, but we'll definitely put that out there all the way throughout and let people know to have that conversation. But yeah, it'll be on, I'm sure it'll be on all the usual pages, the Get Involved, the Uncensored, Politely Gets Involved, all of you in Reynoldsburg Store. We'll get them all out there. Yep. All right, so other events, we do have the 4th of July, again, the fireworks for tonight. Parking is going to be there. If you line up for parking at 6 o'clock, do not be surprised if you see me walking down, and I try and find the most patriotic-looking car that I can, and I'll put out some parking passes out there. As a reminder, there are no tents in Civic Park, so do not bring them. I know I saw a social media question about that, so there are no tents in there. We also are going to be, tomorrow with our parade, we're going to be doing some cool things. So we've got the parade, obviously, from Rose Hill all the way to David's, or to Haft. But we also have some other things. You want to pass that over? Almost got hit in the face. This is going to be our beach ball, but our beach ball is going to have some cool things that we're passing out. It also has a list of all of our Tomato Festival acts. So we did this last year, and we decided that we're going to go a little patriotic theme, a little red, white, and blue for this one. So we've got all the fun ones. Again, Thursday, we've got Reelin' in the Years, which is a cover band playing a little bit of mix of everything from the 70s, 80s, and today. All the way to the 52nd Street, music of Billy Joel, and Captain Fantastic, the magic of Elton John. And I believe everybody will have to have some kind of sparkly, bedazzled something or another for that one.
Some big glasses.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then on Friday we have the Deal Breakers and 112, and Saturday we have Vertical Horizon and Sister Hazel. So we've got a really good lineup again for the Tomato Festival, which is only about 30 some odd days away. So it's going to be here before we know it. There is no market off Main Street this week because obviously tomorrow's the 4th of July, so you'll have to wait and get your fix for Tyler's Pizza on your own, along with all the other cool things. But join us back next week. We do have our next concert on the lawn is July 14th from 6:30 to 8 with Simba Jordan and his music. I've heard really good things about him so far. And Grilled Cheese Gangster is going to be there, which is my favorite name for a food truck. I just think it definitely gives a message to that. So shout out to them. Good food too.
Yeah, I like their truck too.
I think they're going to be. Are they going to be there tonight too, or is that?
Yep.
Yep. So that'll be one of the ones. I always try to figure out which one I'm going to go to. I try and rotate around.
Yeah.
Except for the ones that give donuts, because well, obviously. As far as some other things going on, if any questions as far as the development aspect and all of that, I know we've talked about the PNC site before, but if anybody has questions about that, please feel free. We are going to be going on to council for the field next to Central Ohio Primary Care for the restaurant retail front section and the athletic facilities in the back. Finally got all the lawyers to dot all the I's and sign cross all the T's and all of that. So I'm very excited about bringing this to our community. It's going to be a good thing for everybody. The big thing was just trying to make sure, how do we get the process, because schools are going to have access to this, and our city parks and rec department are going to have access to this, and we're also working with the Boys and Girls Club, so that way they will have facilities there that they can also, because we want to make sure that this is open and available for as many people as possible. There's going to be plenty of club sports there, I'm sure, and the more competitive things, but we're going to try and do some different stuff all the way around. So very excited about that. And who knows what else is coming in the future. There's always something that we're kind of working on.
A lot happening.
Tomato Festival, again, reserve seating is going to be 1 week from today. So right after the show next week, everybody can rush to their emails and get ready to send. And they're going to go ahead and reserve their reserve seating in there, which is nice. It's kind of up by the senior center. And that's just a place where you can have it. There's food, drink tickets, and things of that nature. And that's 6 seats per table. But we're also going to do some pretty cool trivia for a couple of tables for the Thursday evening show. So if you want to go ahead and get a free table for the Thursday, you can do that. And volunteer sign up will be here before we know it. I mentioned litter cleanup in general, but we do have an opportunity. If you or your organization wants to pick a road in Reynoldsburg that you would like to do litter cleanup, all you have to do is let us know, and make sure that you do it at least 5 times throughout the year. And if you do that, you'll get your very own sign saying, hey, this area is cleaned by the Boy Scouts or something along those lines, and go out. It's actually a lot of fun. I'm part of a different group that we go out and we clean up Lancaster from Main Street all the way to the border. And so if we get everybody that shows up that we like to do, we get a couple of crews and we go out and walk up one side, down the other, and we usually get a couple of the bigger industrial sized bags of stuff. But it's nice, and we all know that there's going to be more the next time we come. So we try and do that at least once a month during the summertime. So if you're interested, go ahead and reach out to us here in the city. Any questions, comments, or anything so far?
Nope.
All right. So I'm going to just throw out a little something. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Supreme Court. No, not that one. We'll talk about we can talk about that some other time. But the one I'm going to talk about that is interesting is ruling on homelessness. So Supreme Court ruled that certain legislation in Oregon, I believe, would allow for people to be ticketed if they are homeless, if they had set up some what would be called encampments, things of that nature. Supreme Court ruled that that is actually something that municipalities or cities can do. And so I kind of thought it was interesting, because I'm going to assume that if they had money and funds to pay tickets, that they would be able to not be homeless in general. But hey, that's just my thought. So I dug into it a little bit, and according to the Ohio Municipal League, and again, this is at their time, at their thing, they said there's approximately 11,386 Ohioans that experience homelessness at various points in the year. Now, one of the things that I've learned is when we look at our own community of homelessness here in Reynoldsburg, there's between 20 and 30 kind of like listed individuals that we know are without homes. However, they say that you should probably, to be safe, is times that by 3, and that actually gets you a truer number of where our homelessness community is. So if we have about 27, then that means we're putting up, again, we're around 90-ish, give or take. If the OML says 11,386, I'm going to bet that that's their estimate of what they've identified. I'm going to assume that there's probably significantly more than that. Unless Otherwise, directed by council, I cannot imagine a point in time where I'm going to give tickets to somebody who's homeless. What I would rather do is use our social workers, or even with what you have as far as your community liaison, to go out there and provide services and get these people back in places where they need to live.
Sure.
Some are suffering from mental health issues. Some are suffering from drug addiction. Those are different categories that we want to try and help, but there's only so much that we can do in that regard. But if it's anything outside of that, there's a lot of things out there. And for everybody watching, if you feel that you know somebody who might be on the verge, we know that rents have gone up considerably and people are concerned about losing houses and all of this stuff. There are a lot of programs out there that are able to keep people in their home and maintain it through different bank organizations and things like that, than there is if somebody loses it and then to get back into a home. So if you know somebody that might be experiencing concerns, if there's rent issues, things of that nature, there's a lot more programs out there to keep people in than it is to actually lose it and then come back in. So all that to say, probably not going to ticket homeless people. I don't understand the mentality behind that, so I'm not going to do it. Beyond that, if you want to talk about any other fun Supreme Court rulings, feel free and see me some other time, maybe on one of our little walkabouts, but not a time for here. With that, any questions, comments, anything like that?
Someone says, can you please repeat the timing and process for getting reserved seating at Tomato Festival?
Absolutely. So on Wednesday, July 10th, right after this show goes off the air, operators will be standing by to receive your emails requesting however many seats that how many tables you want. So the process would be you would email, and we'll have that email information out there. If it's not already, I can't remember. Do we already
It'll
do
be
that?
a link to a Google form.
Yeah, it'll be a link to a Google form. And then what we'll do is your name will go on the list, and then you'll have X amount of days to pay. So let's just say everybody signs up and everything sells out within the first couple of days. As long as everybody pays by a certain point in time, then that's kind of locked in. If the seats are not, if somebody doesn't pay by a certain time, and trust me, we'll give reminder phone calls and emails and things like that, then it'll move to the first person on the next list. So even if it seems like somebody has sold out, go ahead and keep putting on there because you don't know. Last year we did have some flexibility. Some people that didn't get it at the initial were able to get it eventually and things like that. So, but it's open to email and to a link. So.
And where should we watch to find the link?
That's right on our social media. So I would say between the Tomato Festival page, the City of Reynoldsburg page, and I'm sure that we'll share it again on the various media platforms that are out there.
And it'll be on the website,
and
too.
It'll be on the website.
Yep.
We do have a website, too. So. All right. If there's nothing else, really good questions. I'm looking forward to it. Next week, we had guests, and they canceled. So we have not found anybody to pop into it. So next week's guest might actually just be me. Which is an opportunity for people to ask me as many questions as they want to. I know we always offer that out there, but I think we may have Jasmine or Jennifer will sit here and they'll kind of administer some of that part of it. And we'll still do the rest of the regular updates and things like that, unless somebody calls and it's another popular guest that comes in. But I think that's what we're going to do for next week.
I'm not available.
Not available? You got things to do?
Yeah.
All right, so there we go. So we can't have a repeat for that one. We can talk about how many phone calls we got of everything that, bad things that happened.
Right, yeah.
So, well, I appreciate it. I hope to see you out tonight at Civic Park for the fireworks. And if I don't see you there, hopefully you'll be out here tomorrow at the parade. We'll be handing out ice pops, and the Parks and Rec team will be handing out some candy, and everybody else will be doing the same thing. So it's a lot of fun. It's a great way to celebrate the United States birthday. And keep in mind, we only have 2 more to go until we hit the big 250, which is in 2026. And so I have a lot of cool things planned for that. So, all right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon. Stay safe, stay respectful, and as always, please put your shopping carts away.